Now, turning over to the NBA, we want to talk about some of this, shall we say, tomfoolery that some of the most offensive players been pulling in the NBA. The likes of James Harden, the likes of Trey Young, and what I'm talking about is, you know what I'm talking about, the swing through, I'm gonna dive into the defensive player, I'm gonna do all this stuff, and defense player just gonna stand there and receive a foul. But with that said, Jay, the defensive player finally gets a break in the NBA, right?
That's true, and I gotta tell you, I'm here for this. Watch games all the time in the past several years, and just whether it's the swing through and the guy's just got his arm right there and it's like, oh, you got me, and then some of the ones, the big ones that I think they're looking at is, you pump fake, and a guy like is about to, you got him off his feet, he's in the air. And if you like just shot the ball normal or just waited for him to go by, he's not gonna hit you. And then yet you've seen it, like a dude will jump sideways and backwards and just throw the ball
Right.
and throw the ball up like that's a real shot. I think those are the type of things they're getting rid of. And I think based on what I'm reading, I think Monty McCutcheon did a pretty good job of like explaining what they're trying to get rid of without taking away the pump fake. They still want and I think the biggest thing, the most traditional sense of the pump fake and you get fouled, a guy is straight in front of you, you pump fake him, he jumps and he's coming straight at you, and then you go up to shoot and he just lands on you because that's how gravity works. That's a
Right.
completely valid use of the pump fake and to get a foul. But when you start getting to the point of like you got players jumping sideways and just that's probably the most egregious one. The other thing is, I don't know if they're going to get it this one, but I'm going to run this by you and see what you think about this. When you have a guy, and this normally happens in the backcourt when a player is like bringing it up, you got a player dribbling the ball, and there's like normally there's a bigger player like trying to run back down the court and get back on defense, and he just happens to be right behind the offensive player. Like Chris Paul does this from time to time, and he'll just like stop and get ran over, and
Right,
that's a foul.
right.
They should get rid of that too, because that's not basketball. So I think, and that's primarily how McCutcheon like framed this, like, and what he said was like, we want basketball to be played, not manipulated. That's probably a shot at specific players. I think James Harden's obviously at the forefront of some of these things that they're referring to, with the manipulation of the rules, and like you drive the lane and you got the whiplash with the cocking the head back and all these other things. I think I like where they're going with this. I wonder how some of the players are going to react, because and I think no fault of their own. Like, I'm not going to say these guys are out here exploiting the rules. They're just playing the game, and the officials calling the game a certain type of way, and they're just using it to their advantage. I don't know how.
Right.
I don't want to. I don't love it. I don't love the way James Harden plays the game and how his game seems to be a great part of his game is predicated on his ability to get to the free throw line. Um, but I do think this is a great time to start getting at this a little bit. And this is something I know me, you, and our Jacksonville correspondent, we've been talking about this for a couple of years now. And
Right.
it's good to see the NBA like recognizing, look, it's hard enough to play defense. We got to help these guys out a little bit, make the game more competitive. But something else, this is going to make the game, I think players, hopefully offensive players, they buy in and they cut some of this crap out. This is going to make the game like be a little bit smoother. I think you see less fouls because of this. Hopefully players like they eliminate some of this nonsense. And if they do, I think you'll see a cleaner game, where there are less fouls and less stoppages. So you should have more up and down action, and just with cutting out some of this nonsense that really isn't basketball.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think, like you said, just like any sport, right? If you go across all four of the major sports that we follow here, it's you have the rules, you have the loopholes to those rules, and then you have like the many modifications. Listen, James Harden. For anybody that listen to this and get offended that we calling James Harden name, James Harden was legitimately making up a move where like you, it looked like he was taking like 4 steps behind the 3-point line, and it was like supposed to be the next unstoppable move, but he kind of put it on ice until he mastered it. This is, to your point, you can't be mad at James Harden for like using the rules against him. But now I would say, James Harden, you can't be mad that they's gonna start figuring it out. Cause I know it's gonna be players that's like, oh, this is bad for the game. Now the referees in here trying to change the game. No. Changing the game is getting rid of the 3-point shot. No, they ain't trying to change the extracurricular that's going on. Which, just like my esteemed colleague Jess, represented, some of this stuff out here kicking the legs out, like that ain't basketball. Like, what we doing? You can't just kick your leg out because you're gonna get a foul, and then the other dude get tripped up and roll on down the court, and he get the foul on top of it. Like, what are we doing here? Listen. I'm happy that the defensive players are getting a win, and I hope one day the NFL find out some way to help the defensive players in their sport as well. Right. Because it's so, I got it. Offense drives revenue. Revenue is what pay the bills, et cetera, et cetera. We ain't come to no game to watch no 60 to 75 game. I got that. Cool. I got that. But I also, when the money is on the line, we in the playoffs, and I got Anthony Davis out here flailing around doing the 5-point shuffle because he know how the rules work, and he know if he just goes up in the air and just make this little move right here, he gonna get a freebie. Come on, man. Like, we got to knock that off, man. You got to make these players earn their keep. And now this will incentivize players to play defense again. Because think about this. One of the things we complain about in the NBA is, like, who really plays defense? Like, honestly, the teams that they say are the best defending teams, all right, yeah, they're better than the other teams in the NBA. But when you actually look at that team that's number one in the stats at the time, you're like, are they really playing, like, tremendous defense? Can you really stop a team from scoring? Well, no. None of these rules. It's 85 ways to score, but it's only 2 ways to stop them from scoring. Look at those odds. You know what I mean? Like, look at the odds. Yeah, the ball should go in the basket more. So, I think this would now incentivize players that they're primarily defenders. The Andre Roberson of the world, Frank Ntilikina, these guys that you don't really look at them. Hey, shall I say Ben Simmons? Guys that you don't really, get happy about their offensive prowess. They're more, they start because of their defensive prowess. Now those guys get a chance to come back up to the forefront if they, do away with the tomfoolery. So I like it. I'm glad the defensive players are getting a win, and I hope this would make for more competitiveness as far as, one-on-one basketball. Hey, clear it out. Because all I got to do is just go to the free throw line, hit a dipsy-do dungaroo, and I'm going to foul this dude out of the game. Now I'm glad the referees are starting to pay that some attention, so I'm here for it.